Welcome, everybody. Let us start with a different type of news today. You all know about Tom Hanks and his wife, Rita Wilson. They're both in Australia down south, and it appears the world is very interested in what's happening in their life. They have been in hospital and currently released. Right now, they are in self-isolation. Here's the message Tom Hanks sent to all his fans. Hey, folks. Good news. 1 week after testing positive in self-isolation, the symptoms are much the same. He writes, no fever, but the buzz. Folding the laundry and doing the dishes leads to a nap on the couch. Very interesting. Yes, Tom Hanks. He does his laundry and does sleep on the couch, just like our Prime Minister feels cold and goes back to get his coat, and BBC picks that up. Very nice. Everybody, this is Rimon Mahmud from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Today is March 19, 2020, Wednesday. I'm here with the usual update. This is the fifth of the series. First, I will start with update from the world all over. So here are some of the key headlines. 1. Iran's leader pardons 10,000 prisoners, and apparently in an effort to combat coronavirus related situation. Indonesia halts mass congregation of more than 9,000 Muslim members in an event that was going to happen. 3. Italian death toll for the first time is actually nearing that of China. So as of today, this morning, Italy has a death toll of 2,978. 87% of them are over 70 years old. China, if you recall, the death toll is 3,249. In USA, the death toll is 149. President Donald Trump, down south again, declares himself a wartime president. Interesting, but well, that's what he called himself. Fighting what? Fighting the invisible enemy, that is coronavirus, creating havoc all over the world. And that's for those that are interested in what President Trump is doing. 6. China sends doctors and masks to help other countries as their internal situation improves. Very surprisingly, there was no new case reported in the province of Wuhan, where from it all started. Australia and New Zealand, they both closed their door, means the border. London closes over dozen tubes are what we call TTC or subway here in Toronto. South Korea launches its own stimulus package that's worth, as of now, $39 billion. Now, there was a gaffe. Japan's deputy prime minister, he said, Olympics are cursed. And that's a gaffe making the circle in the social media. If you are interested to know why, because the event is cancelled. Now let's come back to Canada, which is of our prime importance. March 19th update. The curve in Canada, unfortunately, still is rising. So here is a recap of province by province situation. In British Columbia, we have 231 confirmed cases. In Alberta, 119. In Quebec, 94. In Ontario, 257, Manitoba 13, Saskatchewan 2, New Brunswick 2, Newfoundland 0. Keep it up, Newfoundland. Very well done. PEI, Prince Edward Island, has 1 confirmed cases. It has also been reported that 77 Canadians on board cruise ship as of today is reported to be confirmed suffering from COVID-19. Sadly, 2 TTC workers as of today tested positive. The questions that is going through people's mind, possibly not asked anywhere, it means what? Is TTC safe? Which bus they did drive? On what route? However, those are the informations not known as of now, but let us send our best wishes to the workers, to the drivers, to the riders of TTC, to the management, who are doing an amazing job in the front line in keeping the city moving. Thank you so much all TTC workers and employees that are watching this or will be watching. Testing for CV or coronavirus is up in Canada. For example, in Ontario, over 16,000 has been tested. Doesn't mean that they are tested confirmed COVID. It's just they are being tested for the sickness. Market, as usual, is falling. Stocks are at historic low. British Columbia cancelled 3 municipal by-elections and a referendum in 4 communities. Now, if you know, down south, Joe Biden is still ahead by miles, and Bernie is considering his election strategy. But we'll talk about that later in some other episode. Currently, worldwide, the total number of confirmed cases is 222,000. Yesterday, it was just over 200,000, just for comparison. Over 10,000 deaths confirmed, and the good news is 84,500 recovered. As I said, in Wuhan, there was no new cases. In Canada, the total number of cases is 727. Next, Canada, the Prime Minister told us this morning, Sen is doing an absolutely wonderful job. Canada cares, Canada is beside us. That's what the message we're getting. The government sent text messages to all Canadians abroad. Come home. That's the message from our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. Legal aid lawyers were told to stay away from their work or from Toronto courthouses because of this COVID-19 crisis. Toronto fires, well, possibly they're trying to improve the situation. Toronto fires emergency management director amid this COVID-19 crisis. Lieutenant Colonel Charles Johnson, retired, is no more with the City of Toronto. He had an illustrious career. Thank you so much, Colonel. LCBO will allow product returns for bars and restaurants to help the sagging industry. You know, these bars and restaurants are all closed. Without customer, there's no business. So what these bars and restaurants they did is they bought all these wines and related products from the LCBO. So very good step by LCBO giving a break to these restaurants and bars. Justin Trudeau said, already you know, that the border between Canada and US will be shut down with mutual consent. When can it happen? Anytime, and possibly likely by weekend. I assume the time he's giving time so that those who are across the border or are caught in between can prepare accordingly. Our finance minister said emergency funds, which I covered in my last episode, emergency funds will be released or coming in possibly 2-3 weeks. Government is working very hard. Now, the question in your mind could be, why it's taking so much of time? Why don't I get it right now? I do think there are lots of administrative and complicated work that are involved in making sure money goes to the right places. For example, they have to set up all these things. So let us hold our hand together and give little time to the government. Justin Trudeau, he is still in isolation. Sophie Trudeau is recovering well. In British Columbia, they declared a state of emergency. Previously, they declared public health emergency. Now, this change of state gives actually more broader authority to put all or bring all hands on the deck. Saskatchewan also declared a state of emergency. Hospitals are strictly restricting any visitors. As a matter of fact, I had been to Sick Kids Hospital last night, and also before that, possibly 2-3 days back, because of my kid. What I found, they have done an outstanding job. The whole hospital is almost closed. Only the patient, and with patient, only one person was being allowed. They didn't even allow us to be inside. I applauded that, even though it was a little bit inconvenient. But in time of crisis, we should be able to, accept this sort of inconvenience for the greater good. Regulators, Canadian financial regulators, they have halted mortgage stress test. Thank God. Canadian banks, they have set aside, in fact, not now, after the last quarter, $2.5 billion for mortgage loss and delinquency or potential non-payment. We have also heard that Payment for mortgage could be deferred up to 6 months, not excused. It will be deferred. We're not sure whether banks will charge interest rate or not. What we know is that when asked, the banks avoided the question, rather remained, what I would say, silent on the issue, but we'll see. They also said this deferral, depending on bank to bank, will be applied case by case basis. And as of 1 p.m. Wednesday, March 18th, Toronto Police Service is closing down its offices and headquarters to the public. However, emergency calls will be responded to as usual, and non-emergency cases or calls are to be directed to a specific designated number, 416-808-2222. Once again, 416-808-2222. Back to Canada. We send our good wishes and love to all the frontline workers. That includes TTC, doctors, nurses, healthcare providers, retired healthcare professionals coming back, transit operators, garbage cleaners, cashiers, everywhere. You go to a grocery, you see these cashiers serving you selflessly. We ought to take a moment and think what a job they are doing for us to keep us moving. So thank you so much to the Canadians that are going above and beyond, helping a neighbor or helping somebody in need. Thank you so much. And of course, to you, my viewers, thank you for walking with me. This is also a new journey for me. Every day, every time you're with me, I am inspired. Once again, this is Rimon Mahmud signing off from Toronto, Ontario. Stay fine, stay well. All the best.